Hey gang, Mr. Jenkins again. We're going to go ahead and do your 8-3 notes for Algebra 1. Go ahead and get right to it. There it is. All right, so our learning target for 8-3 is after this lesson, we will be able to multiply two binomials or a binomial by a trinomial. I will say that binomial times binomial is going to be much more what you need. So that's the focus. Another note before I get started is that basically the front side here is the main thing you need to be able to do. And I'm going to show you 3 different methods on how to do it. Example 1, 2, 3 are 3 different ways to do the same thing. I suggest you pick one that you like and stick with it because I think that'll be the most effective thing for you. So we'll go ahead and get right to it then. So 1a, using the distributive property to multiply a binomial times a binomial. My favorite method is the distributive property, so we'll start with that. Basically, what we want to do is distribute the 2x and the 4. Okay, so I like to write that out as the first step that looks like this. 2x times all of this, so 3x minus 7. And then also the plus 4 times the quantity 3x minus 7. So basically you're just distributing twice, and then you combine like terms if necessary. So 2x times 3x is going to give me 6x squared. 2x times minus 7 is going to give me minus 14x. 4 times 3x gives me plus 12x. And then 4 times minus 7 gives me minus 28. And a lot of times what you'll have are 2 like terms in the middle. Don't forget to combine them. MathXL would count this answer wrong because it's not fully simplified. So final answer, 6x squared. Negative 14 plus 12 is minus 2, so minus 2x minus 28. I believe MathXL would accept that. If not, they're wanting you to factor out a GCF, so just remember from the previous lesson, we could also write that as common factor of 2, so 2 times the quantity, 3x squared minus x minus 14. I doubt you need to do that. I would just try this one first. Okay, so that's an example of the distributive property. Using a table, I would say if you're more of a visual learner, this might be helpful for you. So this is going to be a 2 by 2 table, so just make yourself a box and divide it into fourths. All right, so then we can put the x and the minus 3 either across the top or down the left-hand side, and then the other one down the left-hand side. So the 4x and the minus 5. Okay, so then each cell will be the product of 2 monomials. So 4x times x goes here, that's 4x squared. 4x times minus 3 is minus 12x. Negative 5 times x is minus 5x. And negative 5 times negative 3 is plus 15 or positive 15. All right, so then we go ahead and write out all our terms, combining any like terms. So 4x squared is just 4x squared. These two are like terms, so we're going to add negative 12 plus negative 5 to get minus 17. And plus 15 just stays plus 15. There are no common factors with that trinomial, so it is what it is. You can't write it any other way. Well, other than x minus 3 times 4x minus 5. But that's a different lesson for a different day. And then the last method, this is how it used to be taught all the time, the FOIL method. So FOIL is just an acronym, meaning first, outside, inner, last. This is probably my least favorite method, I'd say, but it's pretty much the exact same thing as distributing twice. If the acronym helps you to remember to do that, then by all means, do it that way. So if we multiply the two first terms, that would be 5x and 2x. So 5x times 2x. Next letter is O, so outside terms. That'd be 5x and 1. So 5x times 1 plus the product of the inside terms, so negative 3 times 2. And then the last terms would be the negative 3 and the plus 1. Sorry, that inside should have been negative 3 times 2x. Sorry, my mistake. And then the last terms would be negative 3 times positive 1. All right, so after the first step, we're going to get 10x squared. Those two multiplied together give us 10x squared. 5x times 1 is plus 5x. Negative 3 times 2x is minus 6x. And then negative 3 times 1 is minus 3. And so we have our two like terms in the middle. Like I told you, happens a bunch. So we would final answer 10x squared minus 1x, or minus x, minus 3. So like I said, those are three different ways to get to the same thing. I would not worry about knowing all three. Like I said, I prefer the distributive property in example A. Visual learners might prefer this one, and some people might prefer FOIL, but pick a method and stick to it. That's going to be the biggest thing here. All right, so by the same token that we just learned, we can multiply any number of terms together. This is going to be a binomial times a trinomial, okay? So I'm going to use the distributive property since I like that the best, all right? And I'm going to distribute the 2x through and then the minus 7 through, as opposed to, distributing this, this, and this. I like to think of it as I'm going to distribute the fewer terms. That just helps me. Wouldn't be wrong if you did it the other way. So we're going to have 2x times the quantity 3x squared plus x minus 5. And then the minus 7, that minus sign's important, obviously, times the same thing, 3x squared plus x minus 5. All right, so same principle, just more terms here. All right, so as I distribute the 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. 2x times x is plus 2x squared. 2x times minus 5 is minus 10x. Negative 7 times 3x squared is minus 21x squared. Minus 7 times x is minus 7x. And minus 7 times minus 5 is plus 35. Okay, now we're going to combine any like terms. So 6x cubed is the only x cubed term. I like to mark these out as I go if I have this many terms. I have 2x squared and 21x squared. So 2 minus 21 is minus 19. So minus 19x squared. I have multiple x terms, so negative 10 and negative 7, or negative 10 plus negative 7 is negative 17. So minus 17x, and then plus 35 is what it is. No other like terms. So that's going to be my final answer right there. 6x cubed minus 19x squared minus 17x plus 35. Also, a table might be a good way to go on a problem such as this, okay? Then the last example we're going to look at is 5a. Okay, and they'll all be worked out on the filled out notes that you'll see on Google Classroom as well. All right, so it says a cylinder has the dimensions shown in the diagram. What is a polynomial that describes the volume of the cylinder? So volume of a cylinder is going to be basically the area of the base, which we covered in the last notes. You probably can't see that either, but it looks like the radius is x plus 1, and then the height is x plus 4. Darken that in for you. So anyways, volume is going to be area of the base times the height of the cylinder. So area of the base is pi times radius squared, and then height is just height. Okay, so that's our formula where r is equal to x plus 1 and h is equal to x plus 4. So when I go ahead and make my substitutions, I get volume equals pi times x plus 1 squared times height, which is x plus 4. All right, so I'm just going to leave pi in terms of, I'm just going to leave pi as pi and try to multiply all this out. So the first thing I'm going to focus on is x plus 1 squared. So I'm going to rewrite that as x plus 1 times x plus 1. Show a little bit less work here. So I'm going to use the distributive property. First, I'm distributing the x. X times x is x squared. X times 1 is 1x, so plus x. 1 times x is 1x. And then 1 times 1 is plus 1. So overall, we get x squared plus 2x plus 1. All right, but then remember we still have that times x plus 4. So next step would be just to take the x plus 4 times that guy. And again, I'm going to use the distributive property. So distribute the x through, we get x cubed plus 2x squared plus x. Now we're distributing the 4 through, so 4x squared plus 8x plus 8. And combine any like terms, and that should be our last answer. And we're going to also remember that it's that times pi. Anyways, when we combine like terms, we get x cubed, and then 2 plus 4 gives me 6x squared. 1 plus 8 gives me 9x. And plus 8 stays plus 8. So basically, our volume is going to be this times pi. I'm going to make it look nice and pretty, where I have a little bit of space. So final answer, volume equals pi times the quantity x cubed plus 6x squared plus 9x plus 8. I'm looking at my old notes, and I think I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, I did. Sorry. So 4 times 1 I wrote was 8. Obviously, that's 4. So I'm going to change those 8s to a 4. Sorry about that. I know you guys would have caught that mistake for me if I didn't. So plus 4 there. Everything else I believe is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and box that in as my final answer. And that kind of concludes this video. Like I said, everything else will be worked out on your notes. And again, like yesterday, if that's not enough for you, hop in on Monday's Zoom meeting and we can talk about specific problems from the notes that didn't work out. We can talk about Math Excel problems, whatever it may be. And I appreciate it. Hope this helps. You guys have a great day.